New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Look, Ebro in the morning, beautiful Laura Styles. Rosenberg is here. LeBron's on fleek. LeBron's look
Tribe jacket?
Tribe jacket.
Vintage Hot 97 t-shirt?
You look amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Always amazing. Amara La Negra from Love and Hip Hop Miami. How are you today?
I am lovely. Thank you so much for
Shining
having me.
as usual.
Yes,
I mean, the glow.
yes.
Feel the glow.
You like it? You like it? Actually, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I barely get to come to New York as often as I would like to, but I am here, which is all that matters.
I want to, before we get into colorism and get into your music, I want to talk about your, how do I say, vibrant energy.
Her bubbly personality.
Her bubbly personality. Right. So it is like you are a walking Sábado Gigante. Like you are one of the girls. Like you were raised on that program,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like how many years on that program?
I was there for 6 years every Saturday. I started as a child star. My mom saw that, I was naturally very like spontaneous and very like sassy. So she took me to do an audition. They chose me and then I was there. Then I became a backup dancer for Latin Grammys, Premio Lo Nuestro, etc. It was a great opportunity and it kind of just started from there.
So when did the barriers, because it sounds like, look, as a child star, you was on TV. You was a backup dancer. Like, to a lot of people, that would be like, yo, you made it, right?
Well, it depends what you consider made.
But I think that's a part of the conversation, right? Because now the part of your, I guess, brand has become, no, I didn't get to do certain things, or I haven't achieved what I can achieve because of my complexion, because of my appearance. When did you start to feel that?
I don't want to necessarily put it as if I haven't made it because of my skin color, because there's a lot of people that have made it. I will say that it does become harder. It is a barrier. And I'll tell you this much. Now that you said Sábado Gigante, when I was in Sábado Gigante, I was until this day, well, now the show is over, but the only black girl to be in that not even, I wouldn't even say on the show because they had this section that was for the kids where they had questions and it was entertaining and da-da-da-da. And then even as the models that they had on the show, they never had a black ever. Even though that Don Francisco once told me and offered me the opportunity, but it never actually happened. It was just, So I was always like I used to say, the bug in the cup of milk. They would put me right in the middle or right in the back because they didn't know like where to place me so it doesn't look awkward. So I was always like here or back there. And I actually started perming my hair when I was in Sábado Gigante. I remember that my mom took me backstage. They were doing my makeup and my hair, and the hairstylist said, you need to do something with her hair because it's unmanageable. We can't be dealing with this every time she has to come do her hair. And I remember looking at my mom's face at that moment, and she looked at me, and it was that moment that I realized something was different. Like as a kid, I didn't know what it was, but besides the fact that as a kid, you don't see the difference. You're fun, I'm fun, yeah, we're friends. But my mom started perming my hair. Then I became acceptable. Then you're okay. You can kind of fit in. Your hair is straight. It's going to work better now. And it took that. My mom always told me, you're always going to have to work twice as hard for people to recognize your work. And I never understood that till years later, which was very true, unfortunately.
So now you're on the program and it becomes this big stir. What's the guy's name that said she has
Young Hollywood.
And what does he do?
Exactly? How dare you?
Sorry.
He's a producer.
I don't watch the show.
He's a producer.
He's very famous worldwide. You know
Sounds
what I mean?
like shade.
In
That
the
sounds like
planet.
shade.
How do you not
Producer.
know? You work at a radio station. You don't know him?
I do not know who he is.
I mean, he's on Love and Hip Hop. He must be somebody, right?
Yeah,
Everyone.
Yeah. He's somebody.
So
He's somebody. Everybody's somebody. What?
So you have a problem with him currently? After his comments, what was it? Less Macy Gray, more Beyonce.
It wasn't even about because I can say that, right? We just finished doing Reunion. That's fine. Yeah, it's all over social media. We just finished doing Reunion. It got ugly in Reunion, and when
that's on brand. Like that's what people
that's
tune
what
in
Reunion's
for.
Right, but the thing was that I don't. People can. It's not that I felt bad with his comments because I've had to deal with it all my life. So it wasn't new. I've had people tell me, change your hair, you're too black to be Latina, or you're too Latina, or there's always an issue. But the true issue became when he started mocking me.
Right, because that's what I saw afterwards.
He started doing all of this, like, oh, what makes you all like black and proud, whatever. And then it was like, okay, we get it. You're, Nutella queen. And then it was like, you need to be less Macy Gray and more Beyonce if you want to succeed in the industry. And you need to change this, and you need to do this. And then that really was what triggered me. Like, I get it. If you give me a constructive criticism, I think you should change this, or it will be better like this, or whatever. And that's your opinion at the end of the day, which regardless of his comments, it really meant nothing because I just got signed to a multi-million-dollar contract with BMG, and I am so grateful for that. And it was based off my talent and my background and my history as an artist, not based off what freaking hairstyle I have or the texture of hair that comes out of my scalp. So, yeah. Who cares what he thinks?
Well, and there's just such shade built into the Macy Gray statement, not only from like obviously a physical standpoint, but like you're also choosing to reference someone who, God bless Macy Gray, she's very talented, but in our world hasn't been a totally active, prevalent artist in a long time.
Had a massive hit record.
No, I know, but like but comparing it to Beyonce, who is the number one artist in the world constantly, like they're just inherent built-in shade.
And it wasn't even about the artist part of it. It was the physical aspect. Like, you need to not look like this and be more Beyonce. See, that's what bothers me. Like, even putting that concept out there that you need to change who you are or the way that you look in order to succeed bothers me.
But that's an American construct, right? Like, that is a white supremacist, Eurocentric American construct that's woven into the Americas, right? Whether it's North America or South America. Right. Because the people that came and took this land from the native people, they wanted to promote that concept, right? That to be beautiful, to be successful, you had to look like us. This was our land, right?
Right.
They called it like manifest destiny, their God chosen right to take this land, whatever. But that's in America, we were talking about on the air, how many dark complected female music superstars have there been?
And it's not that we're not talented. It's not that we're envious of the ones that have made it. Because a lot of people will take what we say and kind of change it and be like, oh, she's saying that she's jealous and that she, No, it's not that. It's just that I feel that back in the days, I feel like people fought more for what they believed. They really stood up for what they believed. Like, they were willing to take whatever it took to make their statement.
There was some. Some didn't make it. Some we never heard from.
Some didn't. But okay, I don't want to take it that deep, right? But let's just talk about Martin Luther King days, Malcolm X days, Rosa Parks days, right? They stood their ground. Yeah. I feel that now we've gotten so comfortable that we've been accepted somewhat, and we take whatever is given to us. And it's not just about the African American community, because I can say I see both aspects because I was born and raised in Miami and my parents are Dominican. So I do get the Latin culture and I get to feel it and see it from that aspect, and in the United States. The difference to me is more that I feel that the Latino community really doesn't stand up for it.
Well, because it's cloaked. Racism is cloaked in the Latin world, right? Because there was no Jim Crow.
And that's something that, listen, because when I read your story, I was like, every time we picked up a magazine that was for us, right? And every single model that was in there, every single person that was highlighted fit these European standards of beauty, And it's like, when you watch novelas, the only time a black woman or a black person, period, is in a novela, it's like a slave or a murderer or a drug dealer. Oh my God,
let me tell you about that. And I've said it in other interviews, but I just have to get it out of my system, right? So I went to do an audition. I won't say for the network, major Latin network. And they told me when I got there that I didn't look Latina enough for the role. Right. And I said, okay, that was to be expected. I've heard that so many times. Because, see, this doesn't look Latina. This is, you know what I mean? You could be Jamaican, or you can do like something like in Africa, if we do something like that, you know? But a Latina, no, you don't look Latina. I was like, all right, cool, dope. So then they told me this. They pulled me to the side, and because I am nice and bubbly and friendly, she was like, mira, mija, let me tell you the truth. I know this is going to sound bad, but if we have any roles like, you know, like, if we do a slave novela or something like that, or anything like, you know, like a gangster or like, I don't know, or if we go to like the Bahamas in a scene or something like that, we'll probably call you. But for these type of roles, this is not really for you. And it was those type of comments that just like built into me that I was like, you know what? I feel that I should do something about it. So I have my platform on social media, and I have my voice, and I have this. This is all I have right now. So be able to impact people and bring knowledge, because maybe the American community doesn't really know what's happening in the Latin,
Right.
Or
in the Latin
and
industry.
sadly,
Yeah.
don't even care. I don't even think
Or
a
don't even care.
A lot of it, like Miami and New York, LA and San Francisco are bubbles as far as it pertains to
True.
Latinos, you know, Pacific Islanders, consciousness. It's a different bubble. When you get into Middle America or you get into Confederate South America, you know, South, they're not tuned in. And a lot of America, by numbers, is a lot of white people that have no connection to anything, barely anything black, right? They're just like forced recently to deal with some conversations that a lot of people don't even want to deal with. Like, look at what happened in the NFL. They don't want these players who sacrifice their bodies having conversations about how they're affected in their communities by racism and police brutality.
But even easier, take a look at this. People have gone so long ignoring racial issues. That's the reason Donald Trump's president. Barack Obama was so mind-blowing to people that they've been like, man, we've been quiet about black people all this time, and they just turned around and now one's president. We're going to fight back. That's literally what I believe happened in this country. But then you have on top of that, when it comes to Latino issues, you know, this sounds so like I have a black friend, but my ex-girlfriend for many years, my high school sweetheart, is Brazilian. So I always had a lot of conversations about Latin America and Brazil, and people being like, oh, I met this, she must be Brazilian, or blah, blah, blah. And I would constantly be like, guys, there's no saying that someone looks Brazilian is like saying someone looks American. That's just not a thing. People look everything. And in America, and I blame Latin America, of course, also for what they serve up, because what they serve up to us is Laura looks like Latin America.
Right.
You don't look like that.
Right.
So it's been served up. So then you also have lazy people receiving information that's served up every time, and they see you and they're like, how could you be Latina?
Right.
They don't
Listen,
even
just yesterday on our show, there's an intern here. His name, we call him the real Juan. He's raised in Mexico, born here. Cast One, who's Dominican, he's our DJ. I don't know where he is. He's your complexion.
And Dominican.
Dominican, speaks fluent Spanish. The kid never knew. He's been here 6-7 weeks. Never.
There he is.
Cass right there. Big fat. Come sit down, Cass. Dominican.
They're talking so much real fast. Hold on, man.
Toma. Okay, we're here. Yes. Okay.
So he didn't even know. He was shocked. We need a mic for Cass. Do we have a mic?
But you saw how I wasn't surprised, because this happened all the time, and I like that it happened where you guys could see it. When I go, look at his face, because the shock on his face was like.
Laura and Cass One. Who speaks a better Espanol between Laura and Cass One?
Cass One speaks Spanish?
No. Bueno, Juan, no sabía que yo hablaba español, pero míralo, está sorprendido. Está sorprendido, mira los ojos. Mira los ojos.
Yeah, he's tripping.
He's tripping.
I gotta give it to Cass One.
He sees someone who looks like Cass speaking Spanish, and
Yeah, I get it all the time. Or, you speak Spanish? Say something. It's like, it's those little stupid, ignorant things that at the moment you're like,
and you get all of it. Like, let me touch your hair. Speak
Let me
Spanish.
touch your hair. Do you
Is
speak
that your
Spanish?
real complexion? Did you tan?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
because
makeup?
there's also this campaign that I do blackface is all over social media, because I'm really not black. I pretend to be black. I take melanin
Which
shots.
was insane. It was.
It's like, I guess that there's
insane.
people
I saw
that still can't process the
Well, no,
fact.
and I'm gonna tell you how super ugly it is for black people to say that. It's so super ugly for black people to say that, because you do have European quote unquote features in their mind. So in their mind, they're looking at your face.
My nose doesn't match my skin color. I've read that too.
Wow.
Because your nose is supposed to match your skin.
Wow.
That's a new one to me.
Yo, it's ugly out here, but I'm excited to have you up, and I'm
Thanks.
excited that you are getting the attention that you're getting, because it does challenge stereotypes, it challenges culture, it challenges status quo.
I mean, I'm never gonna stop talking about it because a lot of people are like, "I am so annoying." Shut the da da da. You know, we don't really care, or just like get over it. Like I've heard several times.
Well, it was
I'm ne-
bonkers. It was bonkers to see you sit face to face with somebody that shared the same complexion with you in America when you was on with the Breakfast Club in Charlemagne, and him bold-faced tell you to your face that it might be in your head.
I'm never gonna get
That
over
was
it.
bonkers to me.
I'm never gonna get. If you think that I'm annoying, I just started. I'm never gonna get over it. I'm gonna keep talking about it till I see a difference in the Latin community. I don't see it. I don't see people that look like myself in Sábado Gigante and Primer Impacto, in any Latin network. I don't see them in novelas. I don't see them in magazines. I don't see them in movies. And if I do see them, I don't see them on a positive light. So therefore, I am gonna keep talking about it. And then that's just what it is. When I grew up, the only person that I had to look up to was Celia Cruz, and I always talk about her.
And she dealt with the same thing you're dealing with.
She dealt with the same thing that I did, and she was the only Afro-Latina that made it worldwide. After she passed away, I didn't really have anybody to look up to. I had to look into the American market, which I admire all these amazing artists like Tina Turner and Whitney Houston and Donna Summers. Amen. But how is it that little girls that are coming up now, per se, don't have anyone to look up to say, one day I can be like her, whether it's on TV or there's nothing. And even the same thing, I'll clarify this too. It's not just the black and white, because a lot of people make it's the black and it's the white. No, in the Latin community, it even happens with Mexicans. If you have more European features in the Mexicans, then in novelas you'll be the one in the house, you are the this. But if you have more Mexican features or more Indian features or whatever the case may be, then you're the one being the maid, you're the one
If you look
outside,
more
indigenous, then you're the one outside picking up. So it's like it's really a topic that we need to talk about. We need to find a way to change it, and it's in general.
Well,
it
it's
happens.
going to take generations. This is a generational.
But it
this is
takes
generational.
it takes one or two or someone, a group of us, to try to bring the attention to the issue. Like I said, it's definitely going to take many, many years. But if I personally feel that I made like this much of a difference, then I can die in peace. Like I did my part.
How's the music sound though? Let's talk about the music. How's it sound?
This multi-million-dollar contract you just got.
You've made reggaeton records, you've made dance records. I've heard you on remixes before. You're electric on stage. I've seen you perform in the videos.
Thank you.
You're dancing. I mean, you're very talented. But
you can keep going. You keep going.
how does the actual music sound? Like, is it gonna be cross genre? Is it gonna be? Or are you just making music for the Latin market?
No. My sound right as of now is a little bit more Americanized, but I never want to lose my essence. I never want to lose who I am. So I will always have a little bit of that Caribbean feel in there somewhere, somehow. People know me for doing fusion. That's what I do. I'll search into like Brazilian funk, which was my first hit, or Brazilian funk, or I'll mix some Afro beat with some soca or dembow, or I like fusion. It's hard for me to say that I do this specific style of music. I do Latin urban music. Now that I did get signed, and I'm working with these amazing producers like Rock City and Super Dupes, Jim Johnson, like these amazing producers, we have, we're really trying to build this specific new sound that just goes with me. It's really wavy, it's fun, it's not necessarily Afrocentric, but it has that Caribbean vibe to it.
That's Afrocentric, whether people want to remix it or not.
Oh, well, you know how people are, so I gotta clarify.
And I know people at times have tried to what I've seen to try to like separate you and Cardi B in some way. But
Thank you for bringing that up.
And I'll let you get to whatever you want to say on that. But how dope is it that post Cardi B, the idea of being on Love and Hip Hop and turning that into a very legitimate music career is wide open now? Because a few years ago there were artists who were like, I'm gonna be on Love and Hip Hop and then my career is gonna pop.
Womp.
Didn't happen. Yeah, Cardi B's Grammy nominated. You know what I'm saying? And she's been around the world at post Love and Hip Hop. I mean, K. Michelle did a nice job with it too, but she was already in the music business. She was already signed first. So I think that's a pretty cool door that's opened.
Most definitely. I feel, because I've heard that, usually the artists or people that go to Love and Hip Hop are artists that, they're not popping anymore or they suck or whatever however people may feel about it. I truly believe that Mona, she gives you a platform, and what you do with it is up to you. A lot of people think that Love and Hip Hop is scripted. It's not. It's really not. Whatever comes out of your mouth is whatever comes out of your mouth. Whatever you want to promote is whatever you want to promote. Some people get caught up into the drama. They're impulsive and they just and you forget what your true purpose is.
But the plots are tailored based on who you are. Like, it may not be, it's not a script.
It's not a script.
But they know things that you're passionate about. Obviously, they knew that colorism was something that you were dealing with.
No, it didn't even happen like that. It didn't. It was all about me going to the studio wanting to work with, I want to work with you.
And dude said some wild shit.
That's it. And it was so real that's the problem.
Cass,
it followed.
That's how it happens.
That
It's
was
it's
the problem.
Totally, and it's like, it's people don't. The ones that are doing it don't see it as a problem until you're like, no, like you don't understand what I'm telling you. Like, yes, I. It's like it's so hard for people to understand. Even now, a lot of people know that I'm Dominican, and it's still hard for them to understand that I can speak Spanish. Like, and what's really funny half the time is that. I hate to say it like that, but it's like I'm more Dominican than you. I grew up in DR. Like some people that never been to Dominican.
That goes back to what was the dictator y'all had that was killing all the dark skinned people? Trujillo, because he was like, yo, if you dark skinned, you Haitian. Look, we took those calls of Dominicans calling up here acting like they're really different than people who they share an island with.
But listen, even like this, I'm gonna tell you like this, in Dominican Republic, cause I went there like my parents did a good job of instilling that, my culture and Dominican. Like I grew up every summer in Dominican Republic, 3 months, every winter, 2.5 weeks, 2 months, right? As I was there, while in DR, there were 3 dark-skinned people that I can remember seeing all the time, on TV or no. There's only 3. There was Peña Gomez, which was, he was in politics. There was Johnny Ventura, and there was Corporán. And I'm hard pressed to name you any other dark skinned Dominican that was famous on.
And those are all men.
But even though that I won't even. Men? Yes.
Those are all men.
But those I'm talking about on the men's side.
Okay. But even though I won't lie and say in the Dominican Republic you have better chances of getting.
But it's still.
You have better chances of getting on TV.
Yeah, but it's still like. La Morenita.
It's it is, yeah. They will always box you into like La Negrita, La Morena, La whatever.
Well, you put that on your name too, though. You put Amara La Negra on your name.
I did it, or I originally did it because nobody remembered Amara. They would be like, oh, what's La Negra's name? What's La Negrita's name? So it kind of stuck. But then afterwards, I also did it just being rebellious, Y'all keep calling me black, so guess what? That's what
Amara
I am.
The Black.
La Negra, and what? Yes. And even it's unfortunate because I don't want to say that all Dominicans are the same. No, they're not.
They're not.
But I've heard it so many times, and it's sad because I feel like it's self-hate. Oh, don't marry no black man. You gotta better the race. Like you can't come. And I've had that told to me. Yeah, you're pretty and everything, but hay que adelantar la raza. We gotta fix the race. It's those things that I feel that people just keep wanting to ignore. I can't sit here and ignore
race.
It. Yeah. Like
Dominicans are culture though, isn't it?
Yeah, but we don't want the nappy hair. We don't want the big nose.
Whiten it up.
We don't want this. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, they don't want. They want to make sure you show that you don't have
no. Dominicans is not. Being Latino is not a race. Either you're black or you're white or you're that's something that we clarified in reunion as well. A lot of people have that mixed up. That being Latino is not a race, but amongst us in the Dominican Republic, which is crazy because my father is way darker than I am. My mother is lighter than me, and my family on my mother's side look like you guys. You know what I mean? We come in so many different shades and colors and shapes and everything that is ridiculous that even amongst ourselves, the Latin community, we see a lot of colorism. We come from the same family. We come from the same bloodline, same country, same everything, and you will still look at me like you're La Negra. So you know what I mean? You're over there. We this is us. So it's petty, it's stupid, but it's happening and we need to talk about it. We can't ignore it. We need to find a way to make a difference. I don't want people to see me as a victim that, oh, Amara's whining again. Oh, because I do cry a lot. That's how I deal with stuff. But yeah, like some people will get loud and do all of this, and some people eat, some people drink. I cry, I wipe my tears, and I move forward. Like that's just how I know
And
how
let's
to
be
vent.
honest, you start loud, so you can't get any louder. You gotta go from loud to
Yeah, but realistically, you know, I just feel that I'm in such a good place in my life right now. I always say that I don't feel that I was born to just be one more person on this planet and just die and nobody will ever remember me. I want to die knowing that I did something that had a purpose, obviously besides my music, because my music is my priority. It just so happens to be that I also want to be vocal about true issues. I don't want people to completely miss the fact that I am an artist, I am an entertainer, and just be like, Amara is the Afro-Latina and this is all she has to talk about. I don't. I know a lot of people.
That'll depend on the records. When we start hearing the records,
a lot of people,
you know,
a lot of people want to hear the music, and I just got signed less than a month ago. It's a process. Especially for the Americanized music or working my way into the crossover to the American market. As far as the Latin market is concerned, I do very well over there. Like I'm good.
But you don't have to cross over that much because he didn't win the Grammy, but Luis Fonsi had a Spanish, it was a Spanish song in Spanish. Obviously Bieber jumping on and putting some English on it, but that record went very far.
Sí, pero no.
No.
Sí.
Yes
Pero no,
Why?
because Fonsi is a Latin artist.
Right.
His market is the Latin market. It just so happens to be he did this song. It was a remix. Boom! It became a.
But I think what I'm saying is it opens up. I guess the palette, the taste.
I want to be able to work full blown work both markets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I did this English song. Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to keep doing this. No, I really want to sit here and focus on being able to have a number one song. A number one charting song in the billboards, in the American charts and in the Latin charts. So really work both markets. That's really my goal.
Cardi B's doing a good job, I think, working both markets.
Talking about Cardi B. Listen, I am so... Listen. Escúchame. I am so upset that there's so many people that want to be so negative, and it's like, you know, here comes a new girl, so you have to go against Cardi B. You find something, find some type of beef. You guys need to be against each other. They're both Dominicans. They both came out of Love and Hip Hop. You know, Amara's popping too. Fight, and it's like. Dude, every single interview that I have, I always talk about how much I admire her. Not only as a fellow Dominicana, she's making us very proud, but the fact that she's a hardworking woman. You know, you saw her struggles to get to where she's at. Like, you can't not give her credit for the work that she's put in. So why do people keep trying to, for some reason, put us against each other? Like they say, oh, so how do you feel about being like the next Cardi B? No, I'm not the next Cardi B. I am the next Amara La Negra. I respect her for her work, but I just don't think
Would you guys do a record together?
Fair. I would love to do a record with her. I would love to. Like I said, not only because we came from Love and Hip Hop, you know, the franchise, not only because she's a Dominican, but because I admire her work. You know, I would love to be able to collab with her one day. Just like it was misinformed as well with her sister. And I personally I call her.
Did you read her sister's quote?
Huh?
Did you read what her sister wrote?
I read it.
I read it. I felt like she definitely articulated that their fight in being Dominican and being, you know, who they are was a part of your fight. Like, it didn't feel like they were trying to be separate from you in what I read.
But it almost felt. I feel that she was just being protective of her sister. They always have each other's back, which is a beautiful thing. I don't have any brothers. I don't have any sisters. I don't know how that feels, but I can imagine it's a beautiful feeling to have somebody that's going to back you up the way that she does, that they do for each other. I just think that she felt like maybe perhaps. She specifically said the face that I put when I was doing the interview bothered her. But to me, it was like, if we're talking about colorism and how hard it is for, you know, for me or the struggles or whatever, why bring Cardi B when we're talking about me or we're talking about, you know, dark skin?
Because she's a little bit lighter.
It's a little bit lighter.
She's
so
more.
She's like you, kind of, sort of. Yeah. So it was just like, Like, what does that have to do with anything? So I guess she took my expressions
But I think
as a
that's
bad
lack
way.
of knowledge of them doing that interview, because I don't think that they live in that black, Afro-Latina, black, Caribbean world.
Right.
Like, that's not their world
Right.
to know the nuances
Yeah.
of those communities, these conversations. Because if you're living on the outside, you don't know what's going on in DR. You don't know what's going on in Haiti. You don't know what's going on in Cuba. You don't know what's going on in Colombia. You know what I mean? These places that are very Caribbean have a lot of black people that live there, right? A lot of people just don't know what's going on.
I
there.
mean,
Puerto Rico.
and I won't talk specifically about the interview at the Breakfast Club. I'll talk about other interviews that I've done, because everybody has their opinion and their own personal thoughts. Great, but
Well, you don't want your music getting banned from iHeart. We know how that goes, so just go ahead.
all I'm saying is that
Couldn't resist.
all I'm saying is that when you don't know something, sometimes it's just better to ask and listen.
That's what I was gonna say, bro. I don't think the ignorance necessarily the.
If you don't
The
know
excuse.
something, just ask. Try to put yourself in my shoes. Try to see why so many people have agreed with my feelings or feel the way that I do or have their own experiences. Just try to get informed instead of trying to
Instead of dismissing you.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying, because a lot of people.
It's a trip in America too, right? What was the movie with Beyonce, Jennifer Hudson? They were the Supremes.
The Dream Girls?
Dream Girls, yeah. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
Diana Ross was pushed to the front because of her complexion, and her voice was a little less gospel-y, and it was more palatable to the mainstream, and she was slimmer, and that story happened, and it has happened repeated. So for people to act like it's not a thing is it's super bugged
But
out.
even the jury said it. Remember when she was in 3LW? She said it. Yep. She said that she couldn't be the lead because they told her she was too dark skinned, and that wasn't what they wanted to represent.
Okay, so my question is, what is it gonna take?
Time.
How much more time?
Lots.
Why?
Because it's been hundreds of years of this other version.
Why?
It's just it's like anything else. It's like, it's going to take people being reprogrammed, and that's not going to happen in a lifetime. I hate to break it to everybody watching this who thinks
I disagree.
Okay, and I hope I'm wrong.
I hope so too.
Prove me wrong.
I hope so. I am going to do everything in me to
Prove me wrong.
But it also helps having these conversations, because there's people who are watching this who had no clue. They don't know that there's
Right.
black people in Central America, in Colombia. Why? Because back to the same conversation, they're not
And
represented.
I'm gonna tell you another problem too. A lot of us black folks spend so much time trying to ingratiate ourselves to people who don't relate to us, instead of having these open dialogues with people who do, and going to Africa and going to Brazil and going to these countries. We're always running to America because of consumerism, and a lot of products are bought in America. We're not running to South Africa. We're not running to Nigeria.
Right.
We're not running to Ghana. We're not running to Asia, and Asians love black people and want to be a part of our shit. We're always running to fucking Nebraska, in places where nobody looks like us, and wondering why they can't understand what we're saying.
And something that I do want people to change, perhaps, if possible, at least, how I felt about, young Hollywood and everything. He's getting a lot of death threats and stuff like that.
All right, that's a little.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of beat down, some hands and feet, but
He's getting death
But
threats.
he was trolling you too. He kept going. He kept going on a topic that's sensitive.
And not only that, but you did it. Not even don't say you did it for the show. You did it off the show. You did it. You did an Instagram live where you were mocking me. Now he's selling Afro Papi and Afro Mommy shirts, and
Well, see, now I
see what I'm
understand why
saying?
people are upset.
See, so you're doing extra. Me personally, I made sure to do as many interviews as possible, telling people, listen, please don't bash him in that way, because he's ignorant about the topic. I'd rather people help me educate him. I'd rather people help me inform him, because God forbid something bad were to happen to him. I would never wish him, even though I can't stand him, I wouldn't wish him any wrong like that. Like, that's just not the type of person that I am. However, I feel that people get really angry, and the first thing that they want to do is fight. Oh, you don't understand my culture. You don't da, 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 da. No, I think if you could just calm down. Let me tell you where I come from. Let me tell you what's my point of view and how I feel. Go ahead, tell me how you feel about it. Why don't you understand? If we have this conversation, I think we can get further across, into what we really want to do, than if we get angry. And that's the biggest mistake. People get too emotional with it and get angry, and anger doesn't help you get your point across. So I think that's the biggest issue.
I think that you can go a long way to solve this problem because you are a very easy person to look at. Not only being beautiful, but being entertaining as well.
Oh,
so
thanks.
she can do a lot more than Ebro. Eve, you do a great job every morning on the radio. No one wants to look at you.
Nobody.
Whereas she can really
Yes,
dictate a
yes,
conversation.
yes. And
because
she
you
dances-
can-
she dances
and can-
too.
So like you're getting entertained, you're mesmerized.
She can sing.
Right. And by the way, the reason I was making that face is because she started out trying to say like, let's not have death threats. But by the end, she was like, well, here's what makes him a bigger piece of shit than that. So I was just following along because no, it really was shitty too. And you kept explaining, I was like, he did on the IG Live. Now, real quick,
yeah.
in closing, did you actually have to put pause on someone on the reunion?
Did you fight?
Dun, 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 dun. Stay tuned to Love and Hip Hop
When's the
Miami.
reunion? It's not until March?
Yes.
Is there like IG video out or something? Damn, we gotta wait till March for the reunion?
Yes, just know that I did do everything in my power to be in my best behavior. I think that I did pretty good.
Okay.
Did you cry? Did you cry? Did you cry?
I didn't cry. I know. I didn't cry.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I didn't cry. I'm not going to lie. Listen, I always say I'm only but human, you know. As cool as I try to be, there's going to be a point that, you know, you're going to get to me and I'm going to want to spaz out. So yeah, I was a little bit jittery while I was there. I was just like, oh my God, I want to get up. But I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. I behaved well, but things did get a little ugly. But you guys are, you know, you'll have to check it out and see it.
You guys, I'm kind of excited to hear the music, man. I hope
Yes,
it's good, man.
Insecure.
But if it's trash, we're going to have to talk about it.
Oh, I would love to talk about it if you consider it's trash.
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm critical. This is a big moment. This is a big moment.
I'm down.
It's a big moment.
So you heard with
Lit.
you heard with the producer she got Super Dupes. Jim
That's
Johnson.
my guy.
She got people
Those
on
are my
deck.
guy. These are my guys.
She got people on deck. So
If you botch this, I'm going to be really
Mira,
upset.
I am so confident that there is not. I'm the type of person that if I'll knock in every single door. If you don't like it, this person right here is gonna like it and is gonna help me get into that door. So I'm okay with it. I'm willing to show you my music. Insecure is gonna come out real soon, which is the next song that I'm gonna be pushing out. Thanks to BMG and everybody else. Is produced by Tehran from Rock City and Super Dupes, and I'm excited. You know, it's the beginning. I'm also putting out an EP. I'm working on a lot of things, on a shoe line, ALN clothing line, dolls. I'm working.
oh, I love that. That's dope.
Yes. It's gonna be a lovely Christmas. So I'm working on that. I have a lot of projects.
Amara La Negra. Give it up
Yes.
for one time.
Hey! Hoo, 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 hoo.